Hello guys, good evening. Sorry, good afternoon. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. So I've been away for like almost a month. So I kept quiet. But I was active on my WhatsApp channel. So it's for some time. Alright, so what I want to focus today is Solana. I just want to give a brief analysis on Solana, and then I will commence my analysis because I'm back to base. So yeah, it's okay, 1 month break. So I know most of you guys will be wondering who is behind the Domitrons. So this is me right here. Okay, so now we are looking at Solana, and from what I explained on my YouTube channel previously, last month I made mention of Solana going for the all-time high. But the first thing that I explained was it going for this high, right? And after taking that high, we'll be going for this all-time high. So now I am going to be breaking down the analysis once again. So what we're going to do is take off our drawings, and then we're going to start the analysis. Okay, so from the previous video last month, I did analysis on Solana and SUI, and I'm going to do the update right now. So from here, I made mention that we're having this all-time high that was swept, right? Liquidity was taken from that all-time high. That was why we saw that week right there. And then we trade lower, right? Now, if you look at this candle is the candle that is used to take liquidity resting on this high, because we're having vast liquidity pool on this high. So price went to take that liquidity from there. Put my phone on silent. All right, now if you also pay attention to what happened right here, you can actually see what happened right here is that price consolidated right here. So we are not having a directional bias that we're going bearish, because the price have been moving in sideways. All right, so since it is a sideways market, you cannot say that you're going bearish, right? You cannot say you're going bearish because it's a sideways market. So price range for some time and then trade higher to take that liquidity resting on this high. And this is not referred to as a structural break. All right, it is a sweep of liquidity. So we have this accumulation right here, and then that manipulation happened so that it can be drawn to this high, taking that liquidity and then sell shorts from that liquidity. So we are selling from a high down to an area of discounts. Now, since you understand how the algorithm operates, you will know that the algorithm goes for liquidity to liquidity, taking orders resting at a high, taking orders resting at a low. So whenever it's been drawn on to orders resting on the high, it means that it wants to sell from that high, because we're having liquidity resting on the high. And if you go back to previous videos I made previous years, I made a video about what happened to your stop loss. So if you understand how the stop loss works, like if you have the understanding of that video when I explained what you should understand about stop loss, then you could actually tell what is happening in the chart. So if you have a stop loss on this high, it means that it is a pending buy order. Your stop loss is also a pending order. So you're telling your broker that when price goes above this price level that you are selling from, you should buy that asset you're selling. All right, so let's just take an example right now. You took a short right here. It means that you're selling Solana, right, to buy USDT, because you believe that Solana is losing value, right? So you're taking that short. Now your stop loss above your entry order means that if price happens to go above your entry, then that means Solana is having value and is stronger than the dollar, which is the USDT, right? So you're not saying, all right, I want to buy back my Solana and then convert it to the USD. You understand? So you're buying back the Solana to sell USDT, but then you are having it in loss. Why? Because you're buying it back above the entry that you had, above the order or the price level in which you are selling Solana. So it means that Solana is not expensive than the price at which you took your entry. So that is why you have a loss. All right, so that is what happened. So since we have pending orders resting on this high, we're having liquidity pools resting on the high, price goes to sweep it with that wick. You can actually see it close below, right? So it swept it and then gave us a high of 295 USDT dollar, and then trade lower. Now, when is it trading lower? What is the algorithm drawn to? It needs to be drawn to the opposite side of the liquidity. Now, where is that opposite side of liquidity resting? It is resting right here. All right, so we're having sell side liquidity pool resting on this low, which is an area of support, right? So it was drawn lower, and then we have that sweep right there. All right, so once it took that liquidity, it is now going to be drawn to continue higher, because looking at Solana, you can tell Solana is a bullish market from your higher time frame down to lower time frame. That is why it is very essential and important that you always do your analysis from your higher time frame. All right, so sweep on sell side liquidity pool, and then we're going to be drawn to the buy stop resting at this high, the previous all-time high, and we will go for that. Now, you can also understand where liquidity is resting if you're using the algorithm theory range, which is the SMC course like uploaded on Udemy. So I don't know if you have the course, you can actually understand, but I'll explain right here. Now, liquidity are seen in areas of the monthly candle. All right, so the higher the time frame, the more important for you to understand where liquidity rests. So starting from the 12-month time frame down to the monthly time frame, we are paying attention to that monthly candle high and low. So if you're on the 12-month time frame, you're paying attention to the previous 12 months highs and low candle, and if you're on the 6 months, you're paying attention to the previous 6 months highs and low candle. If you're on the 3 months, you're paying attention to the previous 3 months highs and low candle. If you're on the monthly time frame, you're paying attention to the previous month high and low candle. These are the areas where we have liquidity resting, which is areas of buy stop, which is the high, and area of sell stop, which is the low, and that is this high right here and this low, right? So that is where we're paying attention, because that is the areas where we have liquidity resting, which is the highest price that was given previously and the lowest price that was given previously. So the algorithm, the algorithm will want to be delivered to those previous pricing. All right, so like kind of like saying buying below previous low price, that is you're buying at a cheaper rate, and selling above previous high pricing, so you're making your profit right there. All right, so we always make those markings and watch how price reacts after it takes that liquidity. All right, so this one right here, previous 3 months took the previous 3 months liquidity, and in line or in confluence with the previous 3 months liquidity, you actually see all the lows was there. So we're having pool of liquidity resting. Any areas of support is referred to as a pool of liquidity. So the market trade lower to that, take the liquidity, and then sweep it, and then we go higher. All right, so I've already explained all of this in the previous video, where I made mention of the weekly time frame not showing any bearish structure of lower lows and lower high. Right, so we took that low, which is the liquidity pool. You can actually see it is a swing low right there. Took that liquidity, and then we trade higher. It gave us a high. It trade lower, gave us a low, failing to go below this low. So we're now having a failed low, and this tells me that I will be expecting to see a bullish structure. So just patiently calm down until we see it trade above this high. So that is what it did, trade above the high, took the high, and now I'm expecting a higher low to be printing. And what did I pay attention to? I paid attention to this area of discount level, right, where we're having the demand zone right there. All of this was explained in the previous video, right? So the market trade into it, give us the low, and then we trade higher. And in previous analysis, I made mention of it go to this high. We see it go to the high, and after taking the high, it traded lower again to give us a low. So higher high, higher low. It trade higher, trade lower again to an area of demand, an area of inefficiency, filling up area of inefficiency and mitigating the area of demand, and then continue to go higher. So where is my next target? My next target is the buy stop resting on this high. that is where we are paying attention to see where the market wants to go to. It's quite obvious that during the ember mode, that is when crypto usually runs. So that is just the analysis on Solana. So we can now go over to SUI. All right. So for SUI, I made mention of the 3 months time frame of the block, right? So if you have not watched that video, you can just go back and scroll to my videos and then you watch. And remember, I paid attention to this fair value gap. I made mention of that fair value gap, that I'm expecting price to trade into that fair value gap, and then we see the reaction. And it's very interesting, right? What it did here was very interesting. And why I say this is interesting is because you see this right here, it traded into that and turned that into liquidity, right? That's your stop. So it formed that liquidity, trade higher, and then came back to sweep that liquidity inside where? Inside the buy side inefficiency that we are having. So this is a very clean movement, and I understand that a lot. So now we go down to the daily time frame, and we are looking for potential areas where the market wants to sell, right? And if that area gets violated, then we'll be looking forward to see the market going bullish, right? So we confirm that is a structural shift. Now that area is right here. This is an area of supply, right? It has an inefficiency, so the price trade into it, balanced it, played around, and then violated it. Now another reason to why this is not respected is because I always used to say this all the time. Whenever you're having a break in an area of support or area of resistance, we don't call that a break of structure, we call that liquidity grab or liquidity sweep. You can even call it a purge. Many people call it whatever they want to call it. So that sweep right here, you can actually see how the market was playing around, how price was playing around that low, right? So that aside, if you also look at the low, recent low that it took, you can actually see it forming areas of liquidity, right? Playing around, so it is purging that low right there. Now, if you also pay attention, did you see any structural shift? Like, did you see a shift from a bullish trend to a bearish trend? No, we didn't see any structural shift. So since there is no shift of trend, then you cannot say the market is going bearish. All right, so what do I mean by that? What I mean by is this: if we're having higher high and higher low, if you confirm or if you say that the market is bearish or has shifted to bearish, you need to say it violates an opposing trend. So what is that opposing trend? The opposing trend should be a bearish trend. So if a shift of trend is not seen, then you cannot call that a structural shift. So what happened right here is that price trade higher and then played around, choppy, creating area of liquidity, and then I'm still expecting it to continue going higher. All right, so now let me do the markings right here. We have this high, we have this low, right? So most of you will be like, this marking this as the, your structure or trend whatsoever, like calling this a break of structure. This is not referred to as a break of structure. Why? You're not paying attention to the major trend, like to the major swing points, which is from the higher time frame. This is the high, this is the low, this is the high. So this is an area of premium, this is an area of discount. So the discounted price is what we are having right here, right? So how do we say so? Because it was responsible to shift the trend, breaking this bearish swing high, and then go for that other high, the major external high. So this external low is still protected. This is our daily range, right? So since this is still protected, I am not referring to this going bearish, right? So we are still having that bullish idea for SUI. And if you look on the weekly time frame, it is very clean and clear. All right, the weekly time frame also shows that there was no inefficiency from the sell side that the market is, most likely to sell from. All right, so same as the daily time frame. So yeah, still looking forward for SUI to show a reaction to go bullish, and we see it go for the all-time high. That is what we're expecting it to do. All right, so yeah, Also, if you take your Fibonacci from this high to this low to see your premium and discount, you actually see that it's reacting from the area of discount. All right, so since we trade above equilibrium and it also trade into premium, and the premium didn't show a sign that it wants to go lower, then we are seeing that swing highs and low of bullish trend, so we are expecting it to go higher. So the target would be this high, then the all-time high. So yeah, that's what we have. Also seen from the monthly time frame, sweeping previous month's low, right? And then since we have the sweep of previous month low, if you want to say that it wants to go bearish, you would have seen that on the daily time frame. But on the daily time frame, nothing like that was seen, right? So still maintain the bullish market on SUI. So that is it, guys, for Solana and SUI. But I'm so happy. I love what Solana is doing. Solana is doing something great. All right, so once again we did the perfect prediction and it went well. I also did share a setup on the WhatsApp channel, and that was on Euro USD, right? That was on Euro USD, and we already hit the target stuff, and that is this right here, where I made mention of price to buy from this order block that has a confluence with the fair value gap, right? So why do I say so? If you pay attention, this is a reaccumulation forming, and I was expecting it to go to the previous week high, right? That was last week. So you can just check the description link, you see the WhatsApp channel, you can just go through them and you see all of the setup that I'll be sharing, all of them playing out. Some we missed the entry, but it went to the direction and hit the profit that I made mention on the WhatsApp channel. So yeah, my specialty is having the ability to predict where the market wants to go to and see it go play out that way 90% of the time. So no setup I've shared on the channel that failed, right? We only either price goes to the direction and leaves odds behind, like didn't tap our entry. Like example was gold. Gold, I shared this from here, right? Just go to the WhatsApp channel and you will see I shared an entry that we should have it buy from here after filling up inefficiency. The IFC is referred to as inefficiency, but then it happens to be that it used the daily order block, right? This daily order block, and we missed the entry. It hit our target, the external range high also, because I was saying this high is to be taken out and this low to be protected, because this is referred to as a reaccumulation of price, right? So we missed it. So either price missed our entry by some pips, or it's hit and then we go to take profit. So yeah, I share setup once in a while. Don't always share setup. I share setup when I know that yeah, it is a valid one. So yeah, that is it, guys. So take care and be safe. The link to the WhatsApp channel, it will be dropped on the description, and take care. Bye.